excited, isn't it?
I
Feeling
am. And we're
good
kind of
too.
matching. We didn't plan this. Look at
Yeah,
that.
the orangey thing. By the way,
Yeah.
I've got a radio interview, so
Oh
yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, I don't have a radio interview. My podcast is the only reason I have to dress up these days. If not, it's just gonna be PJs all day long. Thank you, thank you. Anyways, for those that are just joining us, welcome to the show. This is the More Sibyl podcast, a podcast about culture and cultural nomads, designed for Blacks and Asians and those who love them. And I am your host, Sibyl, Nigerian born, US educated, Korean speaking, wandering intellectual. And I have an amazing guest today on the show, Saturday morning. I always say I don't rise and shine at the same time, but for you guys and for wonderful guests like this, I'll do that. But thank God I have my coffee with me. Anyways, without further without further ado, I would like to welcome. Oh, just before I welcome any the guests for today, don't forget to send in your questions on the comments, and we're gonna read them. We'll try to get to them as best as we can, and
Yeah.
keep them coming. We're gonna be talking about adversity, about books, about navigating career, imposter syndrome, dating, marriage, kids, and so much stuff. And her book, of course, Be Fearless. All right,
Yeah.
so this is Jane Egerton Idehan, and she's born and bred in Nigeria, and she grew up in Ajegunle. Ajegunle is how do I put it into a better context for those that are not from Nigeria? So if you see all those favelas that they talk about, you should see the pictures of in what's the word, in Brazil, and then
Yeah.
those slums in Kenya. Just think about just how Ajegunle is. But the beauty about those places, which you're going to explore, is that's where a lot of richness can be found as
Yeah.
far as the people there, because like Kibera in Nairobi, that was what I was trying to remember. It was going to come to me. And so we're just going to talk about how that diamond in the rough that is Jane came to be. So, like I said, her name is Jane. She was born in Nigeria. She has been recognized as one of the tech leading ladies in Africa, which is not a small feat, by the way, y'all, because this lady is just, blazing all the trails. And she rose from all of her background to now brokering $1 million deals for global telecom giants. She holds a degree in elect, like we call it, or electronics engineering, and an MBA from Warwick Business School in the UK. She has received, executive education from Harvard and Yale, and she's had more than 2 decades of experience as a telecom exec. She's happily married with 2 kids, Sarah and Asha. You only need to go to her Instagram feed to just see how the personalities of those 2 kids, shine. You know who's whenever she's talking about her kids, because you find like
Yeah.
you just get to know her from her thread. And also, she's happily married, like I said, and she credits her family for, as one of her greatest achievements and a source of joy and stability for her. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mrs. Jane Egerton Idehen to the podcast. Hello,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much. That was a long introduction. I'm like, wow. It's
Girl,
not like that.
because I try to like keep it short because you have such a long list of accolades. Like, how many yards of materials to use? I say, where do I start from? Like, what do I do? I hope I'm doing justice to her story.
No, no,
But
but
yeah,
I'm
kudos
grateful.
to you.
I'm grateful. Thank you so much. I know sometimes I show up. I remember a radio program I showed up, and the lady's like, I was expecting something different. Like after reading your resume, I'm expecting, because I showed up like t-shirts and some jeans and, like a sticker, and she's like, no, I read your resume. It didn't look like that. So yeah, but it's humbled, and thank you so much, Mo. I'm really looking forward to our session. It's
Oh,
been amazing.
my pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. And I really want to just say that I don't take it for granted that you found me through Ozzy. Shout out to Dr. Ozzy of the African Princess in American podcast. Yeah, and thanks for seeking me out. And I'm glad. And this was it Monday or Tuesday? I don't remember when.
It was like over the weekend, I think. It was quite fast, I think.
Yeah, it
It was
was
over the
sometime
weekend.
earlier this week, and you have such a compelling story. I was actually gonna schedule for later in the month, or maybe even next month, because I'm like, you know what? There's so many people to like talk to these days, and with the shut-in, you have to like prioritize your energy. But I was like, oh no, this story needs to get out ASAP. So, anyways, just wanted to let you know that. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about you, like something that isn't, and I'm gonna I'm gonna still take the pieces of your story and expand on them once we have more people join. But I just wanted you to tell us a little bit about you that I haven't seen in any of your interviews. And trust me, I have about as much read everything I can read about you in the past 4 days of just researching you. But I want to know something different about you that we haven't seen any of your, press releases and or your book for that matter.
No, I don't know what more is to say. But I would say that the interesting thing is that this is not the Jane 43 years ago. I know people ask about, oh, were you this confident? Were you this hopeful? So some 40 odd years ago, it was just a young girl growing up in a loving family in the slum, and I was just happy to be with my parents until sometime when I was 6. What happened?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. So I think it just moved. Let me.
Uh-oh. Vero. No, not you. Okay, so something's happening and okay, so I'm just gonna keep singing until she comes. What song comes to my mind? On a happy birthday, that's triggering. Cause I have to go wash my hands when I sing that song. I'm gonna take my house to the old time road and anybody tell me nothing. That is weird. Alright, I can't find Jane. Jane, where are you? Jane, where are you? Alright, if you guys are just joining us, I think Jane is having some technical difficulties. But in the meantime, don't forget to put your comments in the section or just say hi, hello, so I can know who's just joined us. I wanted to interact with as many of you as I can. Let's see who's online. First, let me just sip my coffee, a little bit of coffee. One person is live. No, I'm not. I'm doing the studio. Oh, this is. I'll just call her on the phone. Hey, what happened? Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. I'll just keep. Yeah, no problem. I'm here. Thank you. All right, so I just spoke with her. Her laptop just went off. So that happens. But anyways, the show was going. And it's kind of awkward having, I don't know. I said someone is in the studio. Let me just talk to her. Hi.
Hi.
Can you join the Facebook page and the link on the Facebook page? Are you
Yes,
Jane's
please.
friend? Are you Jane's friend?
Yes.
Yeah, join the Facebook page. The link she has on her Facebook. Join that conversation. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So your friend Vera just joined. So I had to tell her to go to the Facebook page.
I don't know what happened. My laptop just restarted.
It's okay. It's okay. Technology, can be quite funky at times. But
Yeah,
we're back here, and that's what matters. So
exactly. So
Yeah.
back to what I was saying some 40 odd years ago or so, I was just in a loving family, just happy to be there until I think I was about 6 when it looks like everything just changed. My dad resigned from his work. He used to be like a secretary or admin staff with one of the oil
Oh,
services
company. Yeah.
company. And my mom was hanging on to the bakery we ran. But after that period, I still remember it vividly. It's so funny as a kid. You freeze those moments. But it just changed our lives. We became almost the poorest of the poor, where daily living or fending for ourselves was difficult. These days there's a market I passed by. It's called Boundary Market in Ajegule. And I remember the times I used to go there to hawk, and most people don't know that.
Wow.
I
You,
still
you
see,
have
I still see, because we used to hawk bread. So my mother would bake the bread.
yeah, but yeah, you had the bakery too.
We had a bakery. So, but when the bread was bad, you have to go and sell it in the middle of the night, like 11 p.m., 12 midnight.
Who's buying bread at that time of the night?
So with people that have closed from their odd jobs, really odd jobs, people that are doing very, very odd jobs, they're going back home after a late day. They just they don't have so much money and they can buy, they're the people that would afford those it's almost like a giveaway price because you don't want to carry that bread to the next day because you don't have
I say it's not gonna be fresh.
it's not going to be fresh, but it exposes you to so much that happens at that time of the night and the kind of people it exposes you. It just contradicts everything you want for a child. And yes, that's something most people don't know. But I think
Mm.
some of those things are the humbling experiences you have so that, even when you see people in such situation, because I knew that sometimes you have to rise above the situation. I think if I really wanted to go wayward or go like really out, that's a good environment to do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
instill in your kids, like I tell people, what will make them stand those kind of adversity and crisis? Because your parents can't go with you everywhere.
Exactly, exactly. And it's a totally different environment that we live in now. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have kids yet, but I can't even imagine putting your kid through that. But in those days, it seemed like a normal thing to do. And I'm sure you were very glad to help
Yeah,
out, you
because
know.
the parents just felt like they had no choice. And I tell people, even now, sometimes my husband will be like, no, but it's not, because even now, we can't even let my son to go on his work
to ride his,
bike.
to ride his bike around the neighborhood, right? Oh my gosh.
No, he's too young. I'm like, at that age, like, you literally will go to shop at 10 p.m.
And
And
go buy
nobody
meat and food. Yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
it's
So like you, and I think we've talked about this off camera, I grew up to with housing insecurities, but nowhere near, just my area, you wouldn't call it a slum because number one, the area wasn't slummy or
yeah,
slummish, whatever the adjective would be. But you know how the houses can be sometimes in Lagos. Like, so that's actually kind of like the situation in Lagos. You have a house that is not in good shape and then an expensive house beside it and then another house that is not in good shape, and it's just it wasn't well properly zoned.
yeah, yeah. I know. We do have a lot, and it could have been probably the outcome of a mass immigration. I know that after Nigeria suffered what was like what we call the Biafra War or the Civil War, there was a lot of mass. I think people immigrated from the rural areas to the urban areas looking for a better life, and that could have been part of it. Hello, Mo. Are you there? She seems to have frozen. Okay. Let's see. We'll wait for her. I think she probably has some internet issues. I think this is the time you wish you had like music playing in the background. Interesting. Wow, I hope she's. Let me see. I hope she's. Hello, Mo. Yes, but it looks like you dropped off because I'm still online. Okay, because I'm still here. Okay. I know. Today's one of those days you'll be like, no, show must go on. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. So, guys, just hang in there. Mo will soon join us. I think her computer froze. It's one of those funny days where everything that could go wrong will go wrong. But yeah, we're hanging in here. I know that globally there's a mass demand for internet services, for IP services, because most people, due to stay at home, social distancing, are being forced to use internet or IP related infrastructure. So there's a mass demand, and there's mass pressure on the use of such infrastructure. So the tendency is to have things like this congestion, links that were working don't work anymore like they used to, because a lot of us are beginning to experience that. I think the infrastructure itself is beginning to. Hi, Blessing. If you guys are here, please can you just say hi in the chat box and tell us where you're watching from? It will be good to see some highs while we wait for more. If you could say hi in the chat box, I would definitely see you. Let me say hi, guys. So just say hi, if you're watching. Say hi, tell us where you're watching from. We can keep ourselves busy. Mo will soon join us in a second or two. I would love to see some highs. Blessing, are you in? Blessing, say hi. I can see Blessing telling me she's in. Can you say hi to the chat box? Give us some encouragement while Mo comes in. Okay. Tell us, those of you that are in, say hi. Okay. I don't know why we seem to be having internet problems today. I think is interesting. But yeah, these things happen. Let me just check to be sure that this internet is really working for me. I kind of feel like I'm off myself. Blessing, can you see me? Okay, I'm just checking. I think you guys should say hi in the chat box. It'd be good to have some company. Oh, okay. I'm not seeing. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So what do I do to keep myself busy? Give me ideas. What do you guys want me to do to keep myself busy while I wait for Mo to dial in? Ah, that's good. That's good. That's good. I should do that. Thank you so much. So, guys, what I decided to do is that while we keep ourselves busy, I should read part of my book. I think that's a good way to keep us all busy. So I will try and get part of the book, Be Fearless, and read that. I think that's a good way to keep us all busy. What do you guys think? So let me look for an interesting part I would like to read. Ooh, get the right. I'm trying to look for a copy of the book.
All right.
Oh, hi, Mo. Good to have you back.
Yeah.
I was going to read the book, actually. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Let me get the book and start reading to the people.
Thank you. Okay, guys, I don't know what's happening today. My computer froze, and initially it had kicked Jane off. Like, I don't know, but We're
No, but
here. Thank you all for joining.
I was explaining to
Huh?
people that were online watching us. There's a huge demand on IP and internet infrastructure
That's true.
globally
That's
because
true.
more people are using it. So you see a lot of congestion. Things like this will happen.
What happened? And I know even Europe, they had to slow down their, like Netflix, they had to start uploading in SD so it
Yeah.
wouldn't crash their servers. Anyways, so I see Helen here, I see Blessing here, I see
Hi,
Vero,
Helen.
I
Hi,
see
Beth.
Lola Day, I see Blessing. I mean, thank you all for joining, and this is just
Thank you
wonderful.
all for hanging in there because I couldn't even see them. So I didn't know who to talk to.
All right, so we've welcome back. This is the More Sibyl podcast, like I was talking about earlier on. And so Jane, I was asking Jane this question. So kind of like Jane, I grew up in an environment where I wouldn't call it a slum. But actually, it wasn't a slum. But you know how houses in Lagos can be. Most houses, you have like a face me, a slap you, and then a rich person's house beside it, and then just you
Yeah.
kind of mix. Everybody's like a almost like an Eminem mix in the neighborhood. But
Yeah.
how I'm just curious to know. So in I read your book, like I said, you did talk about just you described the slums, the shanties. I read the where you guys used to go and do number two, and you just looking up
Exactly.
in the sky and trying to think that one day you're gonna be out of here. The
Yeah.
people you left, like people that you grew up with, like your peer group, out of all of them, like what's the situation like for them? Because I'm always curious to know, is it that we got lucky and we're able to rise above that? I mean, and for the ones that didn't get lucky, what would you say? Actually, think of somebody that you grew up with, that someone that you can do like a comparison and a contrast of. What would you say made you like set you apart? I mean, the grace of God, number one, for sure. But I was just saying of that to kind of find out, some of the modifiable factors that can improve social determinants, of
Yeah.
health and even, upward mobility.
Yeah. You're right. It's so easy to say, oh, like, because I don't feel like any better than them. I still go there, by the way, so I still see some of them. I'm still in contact with some of them, check up on them. How's your kid doing? How's your husband doing? Sometimes give them a helping hand if I can. So I don't see, as a human being, I don't think I'm any better than them. But like you said, there were some determinants that have proved to have been a guide. And some of them, one of the basics which I talk about in the book is education. Without calling names, I can paint a picture of one of this, my friend. I remember at the time, the decision she was going to make was, should she continue secondary school or drop out? So it was so easy to drop out because everybody around you was going to drop out. She didn't believe in this whole university thing. How is that going to
Mm.
work? Who is going to pay? Why would you just go and suffer for nothing? Man, let's go work as an administrator somewhere, make some money. And she was very pretty and attractive. So you get all these nice glances from all these rich guys. So the call she was making at that time was to drop out. And not like I knew any better then, but I was telling her that I don't think that was a bad, that was a good
Good
decision.
investment, yeah.
Let's hang into this, at least just get some certificates. Even though you want to go after some rich guy, let's have something that you have, even though you don't have anything, let it be this education you got. She chose not to. So, and if I look back to some of the cases, if I really wanted to do a comparison, I think those that got an education, it was a good basis to start on. It didn't mean they were better as human beings, but it gave you access. Like just the fact that I was educated, it comes with a bit of confidence, exposure. It gave me access to seek jobs that would give me a better livelihood. If not, I probably would have been like some of them, I would be somebody's nanny now, or somebody's cleaner, or work as an admin staff, as some receptionist for like forever.
And those are not even like, we're not trying to say those are not jobs like fall back on, but especially if you know that you do have a potential to do more,
Exactly. If you
that's
have,
where it becomes problem, because
yeah,
those jobs are honorable. I mean, we
oh,
rely on them, they're backbone of the
they are
society and all
honorable,
of
but
that.
I think we should do them with I'm trying to say with a plan in mind. You understand? If you're expecting to take that job and let it be the only thing you desire, but you're expecting a bigger outcome, I just feel it's not fair. You understand? Who is going to pay an admin staff $1 million? Like it doesn't correlate. You have to
Yeah.
give them something more to give you something more.
Yeah.
But as the responsibilities are increasing, you are expecting something more from your employers, but you don't give in anything more. I
Back,
don't think that is a fair comparison.
Thank you for that. So, another thing I was also curious to know is that before I knew who you were, I just assumed you were the only child. But you have three siblings. You
Yes.
have a sister, and I know you have at least two brothers, right?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're probably the second child, or are you the
Yes, I
middle?
am. You
Okay,
got it
see,
right.
I just did the whole deduction from your book. Sherlock Holmes is working.
You good.
Thank you, thank you. So like I said, I read your book last night, so it's all fresh in my memory.
You're so fresh. Go
So
on.
I'm fresh and brimming, at the edge. What were your siblings like as well? And did they also get the opportunity to, get that gift of education that you got? And I mean, without, giving too much away about them, because to protect their privacy and all that,
Yeah.
I'm just curious to know.
Well, I think I think we were fortunate. My parents like instilled it from day one that that's only what they're going to give you, and you better take it. I don't think we had an option. And in hindsight, it helped everybody, each and every, all four of us. The minimum you expected to go is to go to college or to university and get a degree. I know one of my brothers, it took him 5 years to get in. My
Damn
parents
right.
need to push that. Yeah, that's how determined. My father was very driven when it comes to that. He cannot give you anything, but he will give you that. And he will keep telling you. And I say that, he went to extreme. Like literally I graduated and people are telling me I'm owing them because my dad borrowed the school fees and I had to come pay. He had already staked his claim that she's going to come and pay me.
You were the working collateral.
And I didn't even know. Like I graduated and people are like, you got to pay, girl. You got to pay. Your dad loaned, we loaned your dad. But it just showed how determined. And you could see the vigor. And I tried to do that, because what my parents did was involve us earlier on. Sometimes kids get shielded about what is happening in the family. Think about what is happening. Like you can decide to shield your kids. Don't talk about it. Tell them it's okay. They ask you, why are we not at school? Well, not to worry. The school is having a long break. What my parents did earlier on, and sometimes it could, it has its pros and
downsides. Yeah. I like
everything.
everything.
When I was 6, I knew they couldn't afford school fees. At 6, we used to sit down and discuss. We don't have school fees for the next term. What are we going to do? Like literally, if you misbehave, they tell you at this rate you're going, there's not enough school fees. You're probably going to drop out. And you stay at home, you make a choice. Like you literally will set up knowing that this is not a joke. They're not threatening you. And even, when it came to food, sometimes you ask and they explain to you nicely that there's no food. We need to wait. Maybe if dad is back, if he brings anything, then we'll see if we can have dinner. Like literally. So you learn to wait and shape up,
Yeah. And just to recap on that, I mean, education is such, even though your parents said, this is all we can give you, that was the best thing they could have. I mean, any parent or any guardian, any person in the place of overseeing a child, that's the best you can give them, because it's that perfect analogy of you give a man a fish or you teach him how to fish. Because education, I say, it provides you an equal opportunity to rise above that. And if you use it properly, then, you can get something good out of it. And I also credit your parents, especially your dad, especially because the way you talked about him, like he didn't go to school, didn't have any of those degrees, but he loved reading. And I'm sure there was a point in his life where he just thought, I didn't get this opportunity as a child, but I would never deny my kids, this opportunity to go to school. I thought that was very commendable. And then even your mom having to quit her job and stay at home, was it you that was eating sand with bread or something?
My sister.
Oh, really?
My sister is older. So when she
I
came
see.
I'm like, wow, that's I don't know if I would do that. I probably will first of all have a fight before I agree that I'm not going to work.
Yeah. And when we get to the point we're talking about marriage, I saw that contrast in that your mom and your dad had that conversation that your mom had to stay at home and take care of the kids. It wasn't like it was an expectation, and they realized that was for the greater good. And I did that comparison with your peace boyfriend who wouldn't come with peace of mind, by the way, and just how he was, giving you instructions and all of that. But anyways, I before we move on to the next topic, I just want to summarize this point that Ajegunle is, the literal meaning of Ajegunle is a place where riches dwell. you know. And the market you described, is it Tunkorimo? That
That's the street.
yeah, the streets,
I think
yes.
that is your name because there are lots of
Yes.
people living at that part of Ajegule
And
too.
even the name of that street never it's not gonna leave me. It's you find something to pick onto. I don't know if you speak Yoruba, but that's the literal meaning of Tunkorimo. Like there's always something to hold on to. And I think that's like a perfect analogy of your life. Like even before, I know, as Christians we believe that we've been before we're formed in our mother's womb, he knew us. And I
Yeah.
don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything that happens to us and everything we go through, God has a way of just using that to build a story out of us. And so, for those that are listening to this, if you find yourself in a situation where your environment, especially, doesn't mirror what you feel like you can be inside, and I'm saying this to tell you that I grew up in a place that I wasn't proud to take my friends to. You know,
Yeah.
my friends from primary school. I went to a very expensive primary school, and I thank my parents for being able to afford that. Despite that, that was all they had to give me. But my friends couldn't come to our house. There were no birthday parties thrown at our house. In fact, the school bus had to stop one house away so I could walk to my house. It was that bad. But look at me today. I'm not saying I'm all that, but know that what you have inside of you is greater than what your eyes see. And don't
Yeah.
let that begin to, dumb you down and numb you down. And I think it's also a perfect segue into the poverty mentality. Now, you cannot choose where you're living, especially if
Oh,
you're a
yeah.
child. You
Yeah.
depend on your parents.
Your parents.
Yeah, but what you can do is start finding ways to, and even if right now you are not depending on anybody, that's the only option you have. Find ways to insulate yourself so that you don't become a product of that environment. And I think for Jane and for myself, it was education. It was also reading, you know, because and then boarding house, and mixing with people that they came from all walks of life. I went to Federal Government Girls College, or yeah, you went to
Oh, okay. I went to
Owerri,
Hawaii.
yeah. So and it was just a perfect blend of kids from all walks of life: the rich, the poor, the do's and the haves, and the have-nots, and all of that. So find something you can hold on to that can help you mirror what you see inside of you. You don't have to fall back on what you see around you.
No,
And I
no.
know in your book you talked about how when you were even filling your jam form for engineering weeks before it closed, how that family friend and even people around you are like, it's such a waste of time. Are you sure it's only for males? And even when you're about getting your job and someone's like, you can come and do a cleaner or security in this place because it's survival. It's
It's survivor. The
no,
survival
that's what
mentality.
poverty does to your mentality. So find somebody you can hold on to. Anyway, I'll let you say a little bit about that.
So no, no, so you're right, and I think you've said it. You said a diamond in the rough, and that's what I really want to appeal. That's one of the reasons I wrote the book, is to tell those kinds of people that when you read this book, this is just to tell you there's hope, no matter how bad it looks. Because while I was in that situation, it also felt hopeless. But you owe it to yourself to find a way to protect the dream. That's what I say. Because I had people, I can remember one of these guys I used to sit with. We used to, like, how you have this, you just discuss academics. This guy
Mhm.
was smart, like literally. I remember then I was probably like 7 or 8. They told
Mhm.
us about education. The way he spelled it, I'm like, I couldn't even spell it. I couldn't even the word. I don't even know if this guy survived it because he dropped out of school. He joined the, like people that like arm robbers and all that.
Mm,
I don't know because some days they get caught, some days they're just killed off. It's a jungle. You're not. There are no guarantees, and the decisions you make are important. So you need to protect that dream. You have to. I know, especially when you're young, you're so impressionable, but you owe it to yourself to protect it. That's my
yeah.
prayer. That's my prayer for anyone that is really reading this book and is in a situation. You owe it to yourself to protect that dream.
That's so important, and we hope that you can look at someone like Jane and just use that as a way to anchor whatever external validation or external locus of control that you need. Anyways, so let's move to the education bit of it. You started with industrial chemistry just because you thought, ah, I can just try my best, and lo and behold, your name was top 10. So you could have just gone for engineering, but
Like me.
then exactly. But then you didn't stop at that. You kept going to disturb that Dr. Swake in your Oswago, sorry, in
Yeah,
your
Dr.
in your department, in the engineering department, and he kept asking you, Why do you want to be an engineer? Why do you want to be an engineer? And you just came to, even when your name finally came out, you didn't even know.
I didn't know. Literally, when I tell that story, I tell that because I think these are anchor stories in my life that I use as anchor. Like you're saying, people can use Jane as an anchor. I use it as an anchor. There's some situations I face in life. I tell myself, Jane, there's some things you have no control over. You keep being driven to do this. You feel inspired to do it. Just push ahead. The solution will come, because at that point, it didn't look like there was any solution. Like people told me, oh, you can go and, change your course and all that. Because I was so restless. I couldn't hold it. I was trying to hold myself down. Okay, just do this industrial chemistry. It's okay. People were like, don't worry, you can do masters in something else. You can even do masters in, people had all kinds of options, but I was still restless. I just thought I shouldn't be here. I should be in engineering. And they said, okay, this is the process. Try. Only about 1% will get in if you try. And I will show up, sit on this queue where professors will come, lecturers, department head. They don't even come with the students they're trying to get in. They come alone. And I would just sit with the secretary waiting for hours, because then I'll be the last on the list. And after a while, I just felt he just loved my presence, because he would ask me the same question
over and over again.
And I would try a different answer. Like I'm thinking, no, this isn't working. I shouldn't tell him I wanted to be a robotics engineer. I should change. I should tell him I want to save the world. Then I'll come back, I want to save the world. He's like, okay, then the next time I'll come back. I'm really passionate about making sure I do something, no matter when people tell me I cannot do it. Then, I just spin the story each time. I just think he probably loved the passion and the drive, but I came back. Even there was a day he particularly brought out my result and said, okay, this is your result. This is a result of someone trying to get in. If you were me, who would you choose? Apparently that other person had a better result. I was already disconnected. So I wasn't even the industrial chemist. I wasn't paying too much attention to what they were doing. So the grades weren't as excellent,
Fantastic, yeah.
But I think he saw something in me. I think he was one of the first few people, I would say, apart from my parents, that saw me. Because there's something he did after when he made that change, and he found me that day on the hallway, and he called me and told me that,
I didn't know that. I've not been seeing you in a while.
For you, your name has been on the board for weeks. Do you know, as he was telling me all that, all the mixed emotions, I'm like, wow, is this a dream? Whatever. There's something he told me I always remembered. As I was walking out, he said, you owe me. My heart is skipping. My course is like,
I don't have money. I said, is it that day,
You owe me a first class.
Wow.
Nobody has ever told me that. Like, nobody had ever let me be accountable to them. Something that is my dream. He told me, you owe me. He was serious. You owe me a first class. He would always remind me each time he sees me, you owe me. So all he was asking, and I tell that to people these days, when I mentor them or when I help them, like younger girls I help, underprivileged. Yeah. Each time they come, I'm like, no, you don't. I don't need any of those things. You just
be the best it can be.
You owe me to go and make a very good grade. I don't want you to make a grade and we're begging to get you a job. Go and give me a good grade, because that's what he used to, and that used to drive me. Like literally, I just felt I had to do this. He wants me to make a first class. I need to make this first class. So yes,
were you able to make that dream come true for yourself and for him?
I didn't. I think that whole first year result didn't help. That was my lowest grade. I think I got like a 5. To make first class, you need to make a 4.5 total in the 5 years.
That's true.
And I made a 4.27.
Oh, like that's quite impressive too. Given that you had to do that
all the way to the end, but I couldn't cross it.
Yeah. So from something you said, I could, because what I'm trying to do here is that I take pieces from your story that I know, and then we try to tie it to something that can help the listeners in their own process. There's something you talked about, and that's restlessness. And for some of us, I won't say like I'm always that smart enough to know that restlessness is like a God-given sixth sense to like not get comfortable in your area that you are in. And I say that to say, when I was in Nigeria and I knew I had to go study for my PhD, I just wasn't ready to start taking GRE again because, I was working, I was earning good money, I was quite comfortable. I don't want to start picking up and start reading math and English after being out of school for maybe 3 years then, or maybe 2 years then. But every time I go back to my room at night, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night with panic attacks. Like I just couldn't sleep. And I started feeling less and less of the person that I knew that I was inside, because that restlessness, I started learning to become comfortable with it. And there's something you do when you turn that thing off, is because that's your barometer. And
Yeah.
that restlessness serves to help you in other processes of your life. I'm sure you've not, the restlessness hasn't gone away.
Oh,
Possibly
yeah,
it's
there's
going to
cases.
come back again. Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you get used to just sensing it and just, ignore, almost like the voice of the Holy Spirit. Let me just put it that way. You ignore it and put it aside, then guess what? You've lost your Jiminy Cricket, your conscience. So
Because, like you said,
after,
that's your barometer. And I think what you have to learn is to learn to appreciate it and use it. Like you said, it's
exactly.
speaking to you, is that intuitive part of him channeling to say, this is what we are meant to be doing. And that's why you're restless. You're
Yes.
restless because you're not doing it. You're away
Yes.
from it. And what you should be looking for is, how do I get back on track? How do I get there? So it's to channel it. I know some people will drink it away. Some people use drugs. Any other,
Or movies, or just, even go and do other things to make sure, okay, see, I'm doing something. Yeah.
but the better you I think the earlier you confront it to say, why am I feeling this way?
Yes.
Why do I want
And the
to do?
better.
Why
Yes.
does it have to be this?
Yeah.
The more you ask and you walk in that line, and I guess you just feel at peace. I think that's how I would describe it.
Yes.
When you get it,
Yes.
because I know when he told me I am in, and it was 6 weeks to exam, and he told me you are in second year. This is a class I have never sat for one lecture, and I have to do an exam in 6 weeks. Of course, I was living in limbo, but nobody could convince me otherwise. You
Mm.
couldn't tell me to reject the offer. I wouldn't. And that's how I felt with when I was marrying my husband as well. I had a lot of people telling me, "Oh, this is this a good? Do you want a
Person
guy
for
like?"
you, yeah.
It was like a storm, but in the storm, I felt peace. I just knew this was the right thing I was doing, and it was okay. It was okay. People don't understand, but I knew this was the right thing. So it's just to find out, like, how does God speak to you? How does that intuitive part connect with you to say you're on track, you're on purpose? You have to learn to pick up the signal, and when you're used to picking up the signal, you keep it. You don't try to lose it.
Exactly. And I think it also ties to, don't lie to yourself, because when you start lying to yourself, because somebody says that restlessness, it cannot be measured by another person. You only know that. And so and stick to it, stick to your guts, because sometimes it's not something you can explain to somebody. They might not even see what you're going through inside. They don't know
Your
what is.
loved ones, even
Even
your loved
exactly, out
ones, they
of the
don't.
love they have for you, but like, that dream is too big. Are you sure you can do it? Guess what? I think I can, because you don't know what it's like to be sleepless and to be restless, and you look at yourself and you know that I'm not reaching my potential. So
Yeah.
guys, all this is just say restlessness can be a good thing. If you're feeling restless today, find out that thing you've kept hidden for so long. That could be just that last Jiminy Cricket inside of you, that little pebble in your shoe that is telling you, don't get too comfortable. You're meant for more. You're meant for more. And Dr. Ozzy just joined us.
Hey,
Yay.
Dr. Oz.
And Chiamaka Adino said, in the storm I felt peace. Yes. It's even with this coronavirus, this is also a good analogy. Even though, yeah, we're all inside, you'll be amazed by the time we come outside and we're back into what normalcy, whatever we can call normal after this. People will tell you some of the amazing things that happen to them, And I think the key thing also here is to be able to identify opportunities in the midst of disasters.
Yeah.
And how the Bible says when there's a casting off, there's like a lifting up or something like that. I probably mixed that up. Anyways, so we talked about education. Now let's move to marriage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when we had that conversation off camera, it was like 2 hours long, and it was just about marriage.
2 hours.
But I could have kept on talking to you on. Anyways, so you in your book you talked about peace. This
Yeah.
guy that you were dependent on, and you guys built something together. Like, he saw you in school, almost
Yeah.
like that. Let me just say, young,
He
innocent.
was like a benefactor when I was in school.
Exactly, it was your daddy long legs.
Yes.
And he wanted to polish you and frame you in just also say just in time for the marriages. I mean, you guys were in a relationship for 6 years,
Yes.
and
It was.
you describe how you started off just having a voice in a relationship up until the point where you realized that the power balance had always been there, but he wanted to just keep suppressing your voice. So I want to talk to especially young girls that are currently in relationships where They feel like, but at least he's not beating me, but at least he's giving me money, but at least he's rich, but at least, at least I'll be Mrs. What happens when we fall into those lies that marriage, especially just to anybody, as long as we're Mrs., should be the ultimate goal?
So I'll give an example. So I remember when I was having this challenge, but we broke up. Well, I would say like the first few weeks. There was a good friend of mine that came to the office because I was an intern then to see me. So I was pouring out my heart to her, and she told me, "I won't do what you're doing.
Wow.
I won't let my boyfriend break up with me after 6 months. No way. That's 6 months invested in his life. You must marry me." Like literally, he was telling me, "You just made a stupid call. You better go marry me." And I get it from where, because like you said, she asked me the basics. Does he beat you? No. Does he take care of you? Yes. He's handsome. He's whatever. Like all those, what I call it, external qualities were right. And I am saying things like, I don't have a voice. Like, literally, who cares? Like, girl, figure out that one later. So I know sometimes it seems we put the bar too low to get married. Then we get married, we want to raise the bar. And I think we were having that chat yesterday.
Yeah.
It is so unfair, even for the guys. Why would you drop the bar so low? Your bar or your barometer is the fact that he doesn't beat you, he's handsome, he's nice, he's got money. Then you get into the marriage. Now you want to then drive the bar up and expect him.
Fraudulent activities.
What a very ambitious goal to change the world. But that wasn't the bar expectation when you were getting married. And all of a sudden, you want him to change and not become this excellent, all-purposeful husband that will do all these wonderful things. So that's one of the things I say to young women, and I think for me, at that time, I did it scared. So the people shouldn't feel like I cried. I cried for nights. I asked myself, am I doing right? Literally, when everybody's getting married and you are breaking up, like is this a joke? And you had every reason to get married. I wanted to run away. I was living in the slums there. Literally, you wanted someone that would take this pain away. Someone that could do it. And you're saying no.
And he's seen you, like your other friends that didn't even know where you lived. This was somebody that has been to your house. Like you talk about how he would drive all the way to come and see
you. I
you.
almost felt betrayed. I remember the day we broke up, the next day in the night, I got an SMS from him. He was telling me about how he's sorry. He hoped that this would never happen, but he knows I'm intelligent, bright, whatever, and I would always find somebody that would love me for me. He knows my future is bright. Something new wants to call him back and say, "Do we have to do this? Why are we breaking?" And I'm like, "No, don't do that. If you want somebody to love you for who you are, no holds barred. It's a journey. You don't know where you're headed to yet."
And most importantly, your future. Like, don't trade away your future for a momentary high. And momentary in your case was 6 years long.
Yeah.
When people talk about, well, I've invested, you don't own that person and they don't own you. Like, why would you want to sacrifice something glorious for, getting hitched to this person, and then getting in marriage, your wings are clipped, you're not able to grow and do all of that. And it goes back to that lies and restlessness, the lies we tell ourselves and the restlessness that, comes inside of us. I mean, this person, looking at him, he seemed like a fantastic guy.
Really?
But for that thing, which, can be quite critical. So for those that are single, no, declaration, I'm married. I've been married for 9 years now. But, it was very important for me to marry somebody that I knew was going to buy into my dream, and someone whose dream I was also willing to help. Because sometimes it might be you that might be like an hindrance to that person. And so you taking yourself out of the situation can be the, glamorous or the gracious thing to do. But just make sure you're finding out that this person, you're compatible as far as your dreams, you want, like, what you want to build together, that becomes the achievement. You just finding a man is not the achievement. It is not the achievement. It's what you build together that becomes an achievement.
Yes, you're right. You're definitely right. And that's why I tell women to take a step further. What do you want? I know one of my mentors used to always ask me that. He would ask me, what do you want? Most times we're never that frank to ask ourselves what we want. Because it starts off with the guy is quite assertive and he will tell you what he wants. He will tell you how he sees the family in the next 5 years, 10 years. And you just be sitting down there nodding, not voicing out anything. Because you are hoping, when I get into this relationship, I'll fix it. I'll decide how we will go. But it's still unfair. You should know what you want, and you should be able to openly talk to that person about it.
Exactly.
That means you should go on the journey to find out what you want. At least have indications of what you don't want. Like people always say, find out how many kids you want. And there's some basic questions they tell you. But find out what you want to do with your life in 5 years. What do you want to do with your life?
Exactly.
And don't hook up and you anchor everything on what the guy wants. And tomorrow you start resenting him because now you think that, I've got this wonderful idea, and he thinks we only have to follow his idea because you never mentioned yours.
Exactly.
I don't know. That's how I was talking to my daughter. It's even funny. So she was telling me, she's planning her future and all that. She was going to get married and have 2 kids. I'm like, what? Like, but what do you really want to do when when you get married? What are you thinking? How do you want to impact your world? She's like, I haven't figured that out yet. I said, but I think you should figure it out because if you're going to marry this guy, it'll be good to also let him know what your aspirations and dreams are. And that's how I like to see it. As in, when you're getting into that partnership, try and discover yourself. Who are you? Who is Jane? Because it's good your partner understands who Jane is, or who Jane, at least at that stage in your life, who you understand yourself to be, so that it becomes a journey, two of you, something two of you are trying to build, not one person, being the person controlling the partnership. Then in the partnership, you want to then take over. It's.
I like that. And even your dreams might change, before I met my husband, my dream was I wasn't gonna get married. I was gonna go to France, get a PhD, and go to culinary school. And of course, it was like, okay, yeah, like, like he could see the ones that I was serious about. I didn't even know that I wasn't gonna not get married, but he probably saw that, and anyways, I say all of that to say, someone that knows you and works on your journey with you, they can even help you point to more opportunities that you didn't even see. And that's the beauty of having a partner that is. When I talk about compatibility, I don't use that word so much that we don't even know what it means anymore. Someone who you can walk on the same path with. So think about life as you're in a dark forest and there's arrows and fiery darts, being shot at you. Someone that can man your front and your back and your side. And they can tell you, let's go this way, let's go that way, let's take the shorter cut. No, this longer cut is better because they know you. But if you don't know you, how would they know you? I don't know if that makes sense, but anyways.
No, it's true because one of the things you said is that your journey, your dreams can change. And I agree to that. I attested. I know that there are cases that are like, I come up with this idea. My husband would laugh like, we're changing this idea. You come up with another.
Exactly.
But because he knows you, there's sometimes they tell you, the way I see your eyes, girl, I shouldn't even start arguing this one. I wouldn't win it. The way you're going about it, I just have to support you. I'd like when you come with this kind of energy, let's all support you. Like, tell us what should we do? Because they know you. They can tell when you are in that zone. And that's
exactly. And my husband is one of the dangerous, and when I say dangerous people, I can tell my dreams because he goes like, "You're not gonna be able to do that," and he's almost always right. Why are you not working on that? I thought you're gonna do. I'm like, I shouldn't have told this person. But you still have to be open.
Even though my husband is my biggest fan, he's my biggest critic.
Exactly.
He becomes like my mirror. He's the only one that can really tell me where I can walk.
Because you've shown him your true color. Like you've been vulnerable enough to show him this who you are. He's the first person I come to confess my sins to of my shortcomings, Like
I remember I did saying it, and I think I mentioned it in the book. A time in my career, I just told myself, I'm not doing this thing anymore. I'm just going to lie low, be a housewife, and get this thing done with. I'm just tired. Because I was passed up for promotion 2-3 times.
In the book,
I didn't tell anybody that. But my husband called me out on it. I remember one day I was dressing, looking in the mirror, doing my makeup, and trying to get to work. He's like, what's happening to you these days? I'm like, what do you mean? You play what do you mean? It's like, you kind of lost that drive. I'm like, I have that drive. What do you say? Like, you know what I mean. you used to go after things. Like literally, you're reading a book, you're this, you have this, like you're really always striving, trying to, but now it's almost like you just go to work and come back and watch movies. That's all you do. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna break. It's like, no. See, let me tell you one thing. One of the things I admired when I was getting married to you, the drive.
There you go.
And of course, talking to him, I didn't accept it. I'm like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Literally,
There
there's
you
nothing.
go.
But I
There you
knew in
go.
my heart, I like, wow. So he could see, he
There
could
you
tell
go.
something was off. Yeah.
Well, good kudos to Mr. Egerton
Mr.
Idehe for reading this.
Edison,
Kudos to you, sir. Anyways, now let's talk about your kids. My
yeah.
goodness. Do they know how lucky they are? Going to
They're
Japan,
lucky.
going to Europe, taking ballet classes, not having to like hug bread. Do they
No
know
one
really
telling
how
me
lucky
that.
they
Yeah,
are?
that's
They
the
are.
thing of me with this kids. I'm like, I hope
How do you motivate them? Like they didn't grow up in a slum, thank God.
they did.
They can order stuff on their iPads. They can do all. They have their rooms. They have all. Like, how do you motivate them? How do you keep them?
Do you see this? Okay, you can't see it. Like I have a couple of books here. They're
Oh,
all
okay, the books. Okay,
they're parenting books because I
okay,
had to try to figure it out like every other thing. It runs like a project.
okay.
I tell people, I said one of the challenges I've had is how to motivate them because I can't motivate them the way I was motivated. The parents will sit down and tell you there's no school fees, there's no food. I can't say that. That doesn't motivate them because just look at you. What? When you tell them, why you throw that piece of chicken away? There are people in the world that have no food to eat. If you don't,
Mom.
what? I don't want to eat the chicken. Like, I don't want it. And it's
do you
okay.
do you take? Have you taken them to a juggler before to like?
Have I taken them to a gym? No, that's interesting. You're right. I haven't actually. It's my husband that's gone with me. I have taken them to like orphanages, motherless babies home. One of the cases, my son was crying. It was too much for him to handle.
I think they're just one generation apart. Just one generation apart. It wasn't like grandpa is taking us to the village. It's just down there, like maybe
Exactly.
down somewhere in Lagos.
I have it, but I tried to take them to like motherless orphanages because I really want. Actually, even last summer, I wanted my son to actually volunteer there, but they told me he was too young. Because I was looking for a way to ground them to understand that you have been so privileged to have this life, and all that we are asking of you, the world demands, is to give back. I don't think the life, the world will always have like a balance where everybody's fair and square. But I think it demands that those that have more
Should
show empathy
do
and show
something. Yeah,
them
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And that's really what I wanted to instill in them, to the fact that if you are that privileged, be sensitive to the needs of others and don't sit on your high horse and think that nothing can happen to you.
Yeah.
There is no way you can be safe if your neighbors are not safe. So you have to show empathy and you need to support those in need. So I try to, what I've learned, because I worried about it for a while. Even at some point, my coach had to tell me, like, see, the river will flow where it will flow.
What did I tell you? I like G. Let it go.
But there's something she told me that kids really learn by observing most of the time. Is what you do. If you are that example, just like I learned from my dad, just observing him read, I had that desire to also want to read. He didn't have to sit me down all the time, and like sometimes he did, but the connection I had was the fact that he did it. So her approach is that if you do it, they will do it because they're observing you all the time. And the second thing she had told me is that I think what you owe to yourself is to observe them intentionally and expose them. Because when you observe them, that they already come with their package. They come with those talents, those skills, those strengths. Observing them is for you to listen to what they're telling you it is. And when you help them find it, just make sure you help them strengthen it. That's what you owe to them. And I'm learning that because I must confess, sometimes I could be very controlling,
Girl, that's how you get things done. You'll get things done that way. So
I
thank
would
you for
think
that.
and all that, but you have to learn to observe them. Know that they also in themselves do have their strength, no matter how young they are. If you can trust them to observe them, then they would expose to you what it is, and then you can work with them on it.
God helping you, imagine. Yeah. So we have a question from Ozzy, Dr. Ozzy. It goes, how? Sorry, hold on. Are there times when you should let your dreams take a backseat for the sake of your spouse or family?
I think there have been times, to be frank, there have been times I felt the move to come back to Nigeria from Ghana, it looks easy on paper when I write it, but it took a lot of phone calls, begging, pleading, fights. I remember one week in Singapore, it was that week was literally a big week. My husband is calling my close friends, can you please talk to her? Like nobody, like she's not making any sense. Because I was fighting to give up something, and I thought I shouldn't be giving up this. I shouldn't, not at this stage in my life. And everybody was appealing to me that consider the. There was one of my friends that told me, like, consider your husband. He gave up so much. If he's asking you to give up this now, why don't you consider him? It's not too much of a request. So yes, there's been some time, and that's why I talk about a lot about situational leadership.
Leadership, yeah, in your book, yeah.
Because I feel like it's like a boat where at some point in time you get tired of steering the boat and you pass it on to the captain, to the assistant captain or one of your assistants. Like, can you please stay? I need to go and take a nap. So even in marriages and partnerships, sometimes you say, okay, this time around I'll take the back seat. I'll pipe down on this dream so we can all help you, support you in your dream, and we can push you as far as we go. And I'm sure another time will come for mine. And it works, especially if there's trust, especially when you've helped and I've helped, if people have,
it's kind of like that concept of emotional bank that you talked about with,
been already putting in my bank account. Why wouldn't I trust you next time? I'll be like, oh, today, okay, it's okay. This time around, I'm saying it this easy. It doesn't mean it has to be this easy. It's a meaning of I'm crying and okay, I'll do it, but I'm doing it this time. I'm like,
and I think it also goes down to the kind of person you marry. You've already established, hopefully, open communication. They know what your goal is. Like what you're trying to achieve is still one of your specific aims or objectives towards your goal. And another thing to add to that is excellent response, by the way, Jane, is that when you guys decide that this is what we're gonna do, people that love you might not even buy into that. They might think that it's not traditional enough. But guess what? What works for you might not work for somebody else. And that's why you guys have to find out uniquely what you can tell. Like I can't take an intervention that worked in Singapore and come and do the same intervention as a scientist in Nigeria because cultural, factors and so many things. So I use this example. My husband, we moved here 2011. We knew he wasn't going to work for a while because we didn't want to break the immigration laws and all of that. So for 3 years, guess what, guys? He was home. I was pursuing my PhD. He would just be at home doing nothing. And that really broke my heart because I knew this was a guy that when we were in school, he made his first millions in medical school. He was very entrepreneurial. Now he came to the US. He's not doing anything. He's a stay-at-home person. That really hurt my pride. But guess what? He never for once complained. He would read all of my presentations. I would, he would give me feedback on my grad papers. I mean, he came for my defense. Everything I did in school, he was my #1 cheerleader. And then the time came for him to shine. He got a job, finally matched into residency to go work in New Mexico. We live in Texas. New Mexico is a totally different place. I mean, it's like 11 hours by road, and I used to drive there to go see him once in a while. So guess what? I had to stay back, and he had to go. So it was time for him to leave the nest and go live his dream. And even my mother told me, why not just quit and just go join your husband? And I'm like, mother, it's like you don't even know me anymore. This is my mother who I love, So guess what? We're finally living together, but we had to sacrifice 3 more years for him to finish his residency. So all of that to say, sometimes you can take that backseat to support your husband because I knew he meant a lot to do for him to get his residency done, and I was willing to sacrifice that. So even though he hurt our relationship a lot, like being apart for 3 years and the fights we'll have over the phone, because I'm if you're not in front of me, I kind of forget about you. Apparently, and my husband wants to talk every day about. So I'm like, I don't like to talk.
You haven't called me in 24
Exactly. I don't like small talks. I don't want to know about your coworker who said something. I'm just like, what is the bigger picture here? So I had to find ways to be more communicative because it was really hurting. I wouldn't mind just talking once a week, but apparently you cannot do that. So. But anyways, just find out what works for you, and you don't have to rely on what anybody says. Thank you for that question, Ozzy. So another question for you, Jane, is on the issue of compatibility. You talked about having a partner. who supports your dream. Would you say it's wise and advisable to marry someone who has the same career path as you? From your book, your husband is also in the telecoms industry. Would you say that that increased your compatibility level as a couple?
No, I don't think so. I think we're just fortunate too, because he could have been doing something else. So even though we're in the same industry, we actually two. My husband is not an engineer; he's more people related. In short, I actually go to him if I have people issues. Like,
because you know how engineers are very good with people.
One of my staff, like, this is what she did. I can't figure it out. And he's like, oh, no, no, no. You know, people issues. You need to call her, talk to her. Don't be too rash. You know, don't send emails like that. You know, that's his strength. Like, literally, he manages a call center, like 800 people. Yeah. Like, I don't deal with that kind of people issues. I don't even want to. So I think we were just fortunate to find ourselves in the same industry, but we don't have the same strengths. And that's what people used to need to know. Supporting your dream doesn't mean the person has to be a replica of you. Our personalities are different, and you can tell. Like, if you check my feed, you can count how many pictures.
Quite. It only has one. I checked his Instagram. It only has one, and that was August of 2016.
Like, that's it. Like, he doesn't want to.
Singapore.
I'm happy for you, but not me. It's like,
my husband is not on Instagram. He refuses to join. Like,
Instagram is like, he can check you guys out on what you're doing, but he's like calling, and like, that's not him. It works for us, and I think it works for us because you respect the fact that you're different. And I don't claim to be the one driving that. I think it was the one. Elena, one of the earliest things in our marriage was, for example, I'm very extroverted, and my job it drives on that energy. You know, being a salesperson, I was always out. We're having customer dinners or customer events. And while we were dating, I would take him on this event. And, you know, after like 10 minutes, my husband was like, oh, let's go. I'm like, no, we just came. He's like, but we stayed 10 minutes and you said hi to everyone. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. You have to stay. I still need to talk to this guy and that guy. I want to talk this, you know. And he's like, no, I'm tired. I don't want to stay here any longer. You know, but I will keep trying to make it. Do you want to stay in
like my husband? Sounds like my husband.
That guy, I think you like him. You guys are similar. But after a while, he called me one day and said, you know what, this is not working. When you take me to those events, you make me very, very cranky because I can't stand those large crowds. So let's do this. You go for your events. All I ask you, please don't come back too late. And, you know, at least give an idea how you're doing. You're fine. You're okay. You're coming back home. And please, I'll be here. And that's how we've been doing it. And it works. I know initially I used to feel weird. I'm like, everybody's always asking, so where's your husband?
Yeah. But now you have more time to like talk.
But it works for us. It's just, and when I talk about it, I remember Dolly Parton. She just made an interview I was watching. And people wonder if her husband is alive. Like, where is this guy?
That's a great man right there. You know,
if you understand your strengths, your personalities, and you respect it, and I think that's what works. So I know that even though I do these things, these extroverted things, my husband is not inclined to want to do them. So I can only be fair to him and cut him some slack. And once in a while, he would try and be nice and go with me to the event.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm like,
but guess who they call when they need somebody to speak up for them and, you know, get things done in some areas as an extrovert. So anyways, it's fun. And to answer, to add to that, I'm not going to take away from any of that point because that was excellent. I don't think your working like experience has to be like incongruent. I think that what matters is your heart compatibility. You know, your husband could be someone working in, my husband is a doctor, I'm a pharmacist. I don't even practice pharmacy anymore. It's still health sector, but we're so different. I do research now and he's not into research. But we find things to talk about. I think regardless of what your situation is, nothing takes away from the fact that as long as you guys are communicating and your heart is compatible, that's just the best thing. Your industry doesn't really matter. It doesn't, in my opinion.
We don't talk work. Do you know the funny thing? We don't talk work at home.
Oh, good for you.
I'm not allowed to ask him work-related things because sometimes we're going to be in a meeting on the opposite sides of the aisle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had a meeting like that. Everybody's staring at two of us like, you guys are strange. Things at home.
But you have a lot more to talk about. It's just finding out what works for you, you know.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your book because we have to let you go shortly. Kudos on that, by the way. You know,
Thank you.
kudos, kudos on that, by the way. I know there's only so much you could have written in the book because I wanted more. Like, you know,
I
the
know.
chapters were too short, sis. That's my only complaint. The chapters were too short.
Maybe we'll have another
But
part, another version of
we should, we should, we should, we should. And there's some themes that I extracted, and I wanted to use that as a way for people to go, you know, read the book and also get to know you better. Is number one, be nice to everybody you find. You never know where your salvation is gonna come, you know, from. Jane, Jane's first break with Mr. Larry is the aerospace whatever the
yeah.
company came from a secretary, you know, that Jen had just, you know, been saying hi and hello to, and even the security guards and everybody. And along that line, she always showed up.
Yeah.
She was consistent. She was like that woman in the Bible, the judge and the widow, you know, kept showing
Yeah.
the wicked widow, the wicked judge. She kept showing up. So just in few words, because I have other things I want to run through, and I don't want us to, you know, get it. Just in few words, just I want you to just expand on that a little bit.
Okay, I say that because there's a tendency to want to look at some job roles and you take them. They don't matter. They don't have any power in them. But I want people to acknowledge that there's informal power and you should be kind to people, no matter who you think they are. And it even helps me on my job today. When I was searching for the job up and down, I knew that the power brokers on the streets were those people that will let you in that gate. The fact that that security guard can tell you, no, you're not getting in, or there's nobody like that in this company, you cannot do anything to him. I'm learning that even in being nice to them, you should find out that you get to know them and know that they're human beings just like me and you. They've
Exactly.
got
Exactly.
aspirations. They also want to achieve things. That situation for them might be a temporary situation they're just going through. So don't disrespect them for it and thinking, who are they, you know? Because that receptionist, that move she made, I don't even think the HR guy could have done it. If I knew the HR guy, the HR guy wouldn't probably
Exactly.
be that off.
No.
Who the
No.
person was. And she knew that if I had a chance to make my case with him, I could win him over. And what
There
she
you
did
go.
was help me create that environment. I don't think even the HR guy will probably send an email and the guy will say, no, I don't have any skills.
Exactly. Exactly. And we're not gonna give too much away. Go read the book to find out just exactly how that was done.
Exactly.
And number two is you didn't shut that door closed. You've sponsored a lot of people to go to school. Maybe by I think you mentioned somebody's name. Was it I forget? It was it Peter, one of the boys in your that had a book, and then you and it was security guard, one of security guards that had a book, and you
Yes,
engaged
yes,
them,
yes, yes.
and then you
Yeah.
sponsored them. You didn't leave that door shut open because you see a little bit of yourself in those people. Can you just tell us the importance of not shutting the door and just be like, "Oh, I have arrived. Hasta la vista, everybody." Like, what's the importance of leaving just a space for those that are coming,
There's an
behind us?
important thing you had said in the beginning that there's nothing that happens in isolation. There's a
Yes.
reason God makes something. I personally, this is my personal belief, that the reason God made me come through my situation, you know, my parents were there, I lived there, I grew up there, and I came out, was that He wanted to use me as a channel. And I believe the only way He could have used me is to make me pass through that. Because when I passed through that, when I recognized it, I was willing to give back. Because I've been in those kind of shoes, when I see those kind of people, I don't start to justify it and blame it on them for being in that situation because I was there. That was, that was me 20 years ago. So I just feel like my purpose is just like this book, is that He made you go through that so that you could use that story to pull somebody up. It's just like using that as a beam of light. But you had to go through, just like, in the Bible for us Christians, we said Christ died so that He could save us. He had to come be a human being. Sometimes I think that's the easiest way, is that if God makes you go through it, once you go through it, nobody needs to come and have a lecture with me on helping people. That you should.
Exactly.
Seeing that guy,
Exactly.
seeing the fact that he's so studious, he's studying, he's ambitious, he wants to go to school, nobody has to tell me to pray about it. Literally, why? There's no prayer in it. Nobody has to give me a lecture why I should help him or not to help him.
You just know what's the right thing. Exactly.
That our paths crossed is because you are going to be the channel. And I see it that way. I see that my resources are actually given to me to do that. That is the reason that I'm the pipe. You're the custodian because you have been entrusted to know that the fact that we're giving you this because we trust that you use it judiciously. We don't need to make a case with you. You already understand. You know the drill. Nobody has to come and tell me, pray about it, think about it, calculate it. No, no, no. You don't need to do that because I've been there. I know. So I think we as human beings, and even especially at this time, with this whole coronavirus, we know that this whole situation, things are not going to be that easy. But I think that's when the humanity comes out. You understand? That's where that humanity should come out. It's not a time to be logical and analyze and hoard.
Be human.
Create a better place for everyone. To share, to give, to support. Because we've made it true. If we help each other, we can make it further.
Another thing, thank you for that. Another thing you talked about in your book was while you were looking for a job. I mean, apart from the fact that you almost even died of, exhaustion from heat stroke, you still went back again. I can imagine that your shoes, if you still save those shoes, they should be in a museum somewhere. When Jonathan was talking about born without shoes, you that were born with shoes. Anyways, is that when even well-meaning people like Job's friend telling you, why don't just quit this thing and just, come and join us here. We're cleaning, as a security guard or being a cleaner. You never gave up. So someone with a degree from a university, you knew that there had to be more in stock for you. Even though your environment was telling you this was a pipe dream, we told you so. You never gave up. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that so that people can hold on to that?
Okay, I think that decision was a bit analytical. I try to do that now when I see young people in that situation. I tell them, I said, okay, the challenge with taking up that job, I studied engineering and I haven't gotten a job for a long time. And in that act of desperation, you can't delay the gratification. So you want to just take a right decision. So say, for example, become a cleaner. It's so consuming that I might never even have time to go and look for a job as an engineer. And before you know it, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years later, I have so much talent I could give to the world, but I can't.
That's it.
In a situation I can get out of. And that's how I explain to your people when I talk to them. So they're like, I am asking you if you can bear the pain of working and going to university or college and studying, you can give the world much more because you can give them your intellectual capacity. Stop looking for the short way out. You just want to take this quick job and, do the minimum wage because you felt like it could instantly gratify you. Because what I'm offering you would involve some pain. Because the fact that I'm sponsoring you to school means that it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to be lavish. There won't be so much money because there's a minimum resource and I'm sharing it among so many people. So you're not going to be students in school living large. You're going to be one of those students in school having a tough time for the next 4 or 5 years. But I'm saying if you can hang in there, when you come out, you can give the world much more than what you're doing with your talents. So that's how I saw that decision of, sometimes hanging in there. That's how I used to rationalize it. I'm like, I know people that just get stuck in that rabbit hole and somehow they can't get out and they have tried and tried and tried because then, your responsibilities start to increase. Your resources are not increasing. You don't have time to go for something that could give you more. You don't even have more resources to invest in yourself so you can become better and you can do something better. And 20 years down the line, you just be telling your kids the story, how you wish, how you wish, how you wish.
Wow, thank you for that. And I mean, go read her book, guys. Go read her books. Now let's run a little bit about career. So even in your book, you talked about teaching men how to support women, and I think that's the one your husband wrote.
Yes, chapter.
And you also talked about there's something you said in your book. There's power in your instincts. You can be the dream, and hence you have the power. I like just how you just always focus on dreams and dreams. So for those that are listening, here's an assignment for you. Whatever your dream is, your goal is, go write it somewhere. Share it with somebody that you love or loves you genuinely. And so that they can hold you accountable when they see that you are doing things that are not, because everything you do should tie to something like your purpose or ikigai, as it were. So if they find that you're kind of perambulating, they can always call you back genuinely. But you have to make sure you have spoken the truth to yourself and to those around you. And
accountability partner.
Exactly. And you also talked about, and I love how you threw in a lot of statistics. I'm a data nerd, so thank you for the research you did. Like,
I'm an
when you're
engineer.
talking about the UN SDGs and the education reforms and, women and men in the workplaces, I love that. Good job. Anyways, let's just quickly talk about women in the career place. So I work in a college as a professor of pharmacy, and we have these meetings we have every year where all the professors come together and we talk about, pharmacy schools and how to improve quality of education and all of that. Something that comes up every year is just the attrition rate. There's always an attrition at the top. And attrition, for those that don't know what that word means, is when the number kind of starts dwindling. And we find that an equal amount of number of men and women, they start off being professors of pharmacy. But then when you look at the full professor level and the deanship level and, the higher echelon, there's like mostly men there. Now, won't take it for the fact that, there's a motherhood factor. A lot of people in their professional journey, they're women in their reproductive years. They have kids. Some of them step away from the tenure track. Some of them, change jobs just to, they prioritize their family, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I want to speak to is, the what really makes, like, the factors that are not quite supportive, that makes it such easy for women to, kind of fall off the trend. And in your case, it's kind of peculiar because engineering is a male-dominated field. And so you already have a lower number of women going in. And shouldn't they be doing some things to make sure that those numbers of women, at least the ones that want to stay, are well equipped enough to stay? What are you doing as one of the people on the Oga at the top? Our Oga at the top.
Someone was asking me the other day about my job and how I see my job. I told her that my job sometimes I feel is the purpose. It's not like I would love to sometimes also leave and become a house, not a housewife, but do something.
A well-paid housewife.
But I just feel like there's much more. It's much more than the paycheck. It's the fact that I'm giving a younger girl the chance to be more than me. Mm-hmm. Because we need more women at the table. And I give examples in the book. You cannot change a system when the system doesn't even know it's broken. So you that think it's broken, we need more of you on the table so you can tell the system, you see this doesn't work. You see this is the reason why it's not working for us. So if you fix it, let's all work together and fix it. Let's say men and women are required. If we all fix it, then you can see more of us. If you want more of us, this is where the gaps are. And sometimes something as basic as this, what is happening now, I think this is one of the beautiful outcomes of COVID. Most companies are working from home. There's loads of companies we've been talking to about flexible working hours.
Thank you. They didn't think it was possible. I hope my bosses listen to this.
Because most people feel like if you're not physically there, they know. Why do you think if you're not physically there, that means the person cannot be productive? Because for most women, we know because of nature, they have to be mothers. And it's that prime, that motherhood prime is when they are in the middle, that career path where you're
30, 40.
So it's always a struggle. You see a lot of them struggle with guilt. Can they be pregnant? If they show up to work late, is a problem. If they have kids, they go for immunization, is a problem.
Some of them are prime is a problem.
It's a problem because people start to associate those things with being weak or lazy or non-performing, and it's entirely wrong. It's just nature. The fact that in a marriage, she is the only one that can be pregnant. She doesn't really have a choice if they want to have kids.
If men could get pregnant, oh my God. If men could get pregnant.
She got to carry the baby for 9 months. Then she's going to have the baby and she has to come and breastfeed the baby and toilet train the baby. Like there's so much. So if you cut her some slack, her brain, the brain that I even tell my kids, I don't know, my son was making some, asking some questions. I'm like, no, don't worry. When you're pregnant, nothing happens to the brain. The brain is still there. So that's what the work. Now, sometimes we try to explain it. So if the woman needs to work sometimes remotely, let's be flexible with them. If you're that harsh, and after a while, they start to make that call. Because the system is so hostile to it. You start to make the choice to say, okay, I better stay at home and have kids. Yeah. Then you stay at home and have kids. You want to come back to the system. They make it difficult for you to enter. And that's why we're saying these things have to change. if these are your talents and you're saying they're talented, then you have to listen to them
And
and
trust them.
to
Yeah,
trust their judgment
yeah, yeah.
and start to find a way to support these women. If not, we'll still see the attrition, especially when it comes to that motherhood, marriage stages. You see a lot of them drop off. These are very key talents for companies, but they
Mm.
just struggle to keep up with it. They just struggle. You know, you like I make examples. You've breastfed a toddler or a little infant all through the night, and somebody expects you to show up for an 8 o'clock meeting, means you must have left your house at 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm. If you're in Nigeria, maybe around 4 a.m. On Lagos,
And
for example.
you know the funny thing that if you were a guy, he probably will get the office to change that rule. And
Mhm.
everybody will show some empathy to us. And, oh, you know, Joe just had a baby. We should all be understanding. Pregnancy is not easy. Having babies is not easy. So I would think we should stop making this meeting at 8 o'clock. Shall we make it at 10 so Joan can join? I told Joe he can come in a bit an hour or two late. And that's what I'm saying. Because for a long time, women couldn't say this thing. We were too scared. People felt that is a sign of vulnerability or weakness. But now we say it, and I say it confidently, being at the table. Yes, she's going to have a baby. And when she comes back, she will not be able to walk till 6 p.m. We will let her go at 4. All we will ask her is that, please, when you're done with your the kids and all at home, if you can log in and complete whatever is left over, I would
Yeah,
appreciate that.
like there you
And
go.
I'm willing to work with that because I know you can still be productive. So that's the discussion we want to be having with HR. You know, if you need to give them support, please give them support. It's not easy. You hear about postnatal depression and all that. It is not easy when you have an infant that's totally dependent on you, or when you're trying to get
And then
pregnant.
there's your work, there's all of that. Yeah, and you're so right because even statistics have shown that when men are granted paternity leave, they use that opportunity to rise up on their careers because what are they doing during paternity? It's like a holiday, extended holiday. I mean, they might be helping the wife, but there's not much you can. I mean, you can like the baby can latch onto you and breastfeed, right? So they find that it's more advantageous for men to go on paternity leave than it is for women to go on maternity leave. So I guess you're right. Recap of that is just, let's keep speaking up as women because we are the only ones that can inform policies that can really benefit us all. And when women hurt, men hurt as well.
Yes,
You know,
we all lose at the end. Think about it.
exactly. And I love how your book really emphasizes that. Like in equality as far as of the sexes, we need to have those because we need the men as well. We need them to because they are if you look at historically, men have always been at the echelon of power. I mean, you gave that example of Yale and Harvard. Was it not
Yeah.
just 50 years ago they started allowing women, coming to the was it you? I heard that from somebody
50
else.
years ago, before Yale started allowing
Exactly. And guess what? A lot of the fields have been male dominated fields until quite recently.
years.
So we need them. We can't just go like, hashtag all men, like block all men. No, we need their power. We need to be able
Yeah.
to for them to paint them a picture and even have their own. And as a wife, speak up. Wives married to these people, mothers of these powerful men, sisters, cousins, baby mama, girlfriends, side chicks. Speak up and let's start making the world a better place. Because a
Right.
happy, healthy home is a happy, healthy universe as a
Good
wife.
for the society, is good for the economy, is good for the nation.
Exactly. And oh my gosh, like one of the things I'm grateful about this COVID is because my academia is one of the last vestiges to adopt flexibility. And guess what? Everybody's now like, oh, Zoom. Yeah. I'm like, huh.
I'm sure they're learning how to use it. They have to
Exactly.
learn how to
I'm like,
use
what have you
it.
guys been? We've been talking about this for months. So, it's almost like a bit of a shining for it. Like, you know. Anyways, finally, where can people get your book? And kudos for making Amazon's bestsellers.
Thank
And Steph,
you.
how you
Thank
did that, I
you.
don't know. I
But with
need to get
all their support, all my fans, all their
I
support.
am gonna have to get that playbook. I already sent you a message on WhatsApp. I'm not joking. I want to write my book. So, anyways,
Oh.
tell us how we can find you and all of that fun stuff.
Okay, so for the international audience, you can definitely find the book on Amazon. On Amazon, we have all three. You can get the Kindle version, which is the ebook. You can get the paperback. You can also get the hardcover on Amazon, any of the Amazons, any country. And for those in Nigeria specifically, because we don't have Kindle rights in Nigeria, so you
Yeah.
can also get the ebook on Okada Books. You can get the ebooks on Bambi Books, and we're also trying to get them into other bookstores. Hopefully, when the whole lockdown is over, and other online stores, because we just want people to read it. I think it's more important for me that the information is out there.
I agree. And when I said it took me an hour and some to read your book, it's not because of just how, number one, it was quite an easy read for me.
Oh
And number
yes,
two, I just
I
wanted to read more about you. But it was an easy read. And I know that you wrote it, it took you like 3 years to write it. I wasn't trying to take that away from you. But that's how exams, these things can be like someone that wrote the book and the person that is like consuming an hour and a half. But anyways, guys, I put the link on Amazon. Go, find that book and go read it.
thank
And we're going to
you.
be giving a free copy out today, right?
Yes, yes,
All right,
yes.
how do we do this? All
Do we
right,
have
just
questions?
uh okay, why not just
You
send
start.
me
You just
you know what? Why not just send me, here's what I'm gonna do. I just posted a link on Facebook, my iTunes link. Go rate my show on iTunes and send me a screenshot of what you put there. Hopefully you can subscribe as
review.
well.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just pick a winner, someone that, I mean, just write something nice you like, because this is part of my podcast show. So go on
Exactly.
iTunes, go on that link I sent to you on the link there, click on it, and then go click on that link, write something, and send me a screenshot. You can DM me or you can email me the review you left on there, and we'll send you the winner. It's gonna be an e-copy, right?
Yes, yes, because we can send to anywhere in the world.
Okay,
And
so all right, we'll just get your email address and then send you the e-copy of that. Anyways, thank you so much.
you too. I
I
enjoyed it, didn't it? We had so much fun.
I know we could keep talking and talking, but I know you have a show
Yeah,
after this. But really,
yeah.
thank you. It's really encouraging. Like reading your story felt like almost like somebody like almost like you were stealing my words. I
Oh,
am not joking. Like you expressed in boarding house, self-esteem, just your dreams and the conflicts you had inside of you. So when my book finally comes out, you might see a lot of things in that book that might be like yours, but trust me,
I'm
that
looking
it felt like
forward to
almost like you were like, I don't know how to explain. It felt transcendental in a way. Like, who's this person? I feel like she's
yeah,
telling my line. That is my life story. But thank you for being vulnerable, for sharing that. Because if you didn't share your book or share your story, we wouldn't know about it.
yeah.
And I wanted you to come on the show just to encourage people, because I said that a lot about how I grew up. Maybe I don't say it enough. People just see, you're glamorous, you speak well, no, like
You
it didn't
have a
start like that.
PhD, yeah.
It didn't it didn't, guys, like it didn't start like that. And sometimes I've had to like shed away because that feeling of I don't belong here. Oh, we didn't talk about imposter syndrome. See, you have to come back on the show. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. And I'm so high functioning and I keep doing stuff. But a part of me still feels like that child that is stuck in that, place that I grew up in, because that's how I grew up. That's my environment. And I still have to keep breaking that mold every day. It's not always easy. But finding people that can mentor you, that can coach you, whose lives you can see and be like, oh, if Jen can do it, guess what? I can too. If Mo can do it, guess what? I can too. This is why we tell our stories. Not because we're trying to like tell you like a slum to grace or grass to grace story. No. I mean that too, but then it's also to show that there's a story that you don't see. And so thank you, Jane. That's all I'm just trying to say. Thank you for
Thank
being that vulnerable. Thanks for leaving the door open. And I love everything you do with the women and career. I love,
you.
just
Thank
speaking up. And I say this without mincing words, and I'm saying this publicly. I'm vested in the lives of women, especially because self-esteem is something that I didn't have growing up, and I still don't totally have it. Please let me know how I can help you. We can work together. I still want to keep our
Oh,
conversation
I'm so
going.
looking forward to it. I think we can collaborate in a lot of ways, so we
Please
should
let me
definitely
know. I
do
don't
that.
mind coming to talk. I don't mind, being an open specimen.
Yeah.
And I think, we should keep these conversations going. I want
Yeah.
women to be liberated, and I also want men to be liberated as well. Because if we keep pouring into the lives of women at the expense of men, it's not going to be balanced. We all need everybody, on the table. But let's try to bridge that gap first, the gender gap that has existed a lot between men and women in so many areas of life. This is why Jane is on the show today, and many people you'll see on the show. Anyways, I've spoken too much. I wish I could have you here because we didn't talk
I
about so many
know.
things.
I think we would have a second version, so
We
we can talk
should.
about
It's
the
gonna
other
be
one.
imposter syndrome and then feminism and marriage. So,
Yeah.
guys, and if there are other things you would have loved for us to talk about, put it on the comment section because Jane
Yes.
is gonna come back.
Please.
I mean, Jane has to come back. She has to come back. And so
True.
let us know. Let us know and find out about my podcast on the More Sibyl podcast, and it's a show where I bring people to just share their stories. I've put the iTunes link there. Please go on iTunes and rate the show, leave a comment or two. Tell me what you liked about today's episode, And you can also find Jane on LinkedIn. You talk about where they can find you.
So you can find me everywhere on social media: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as Jane Egetinidehe. Or my handle most times is NK_Amadi. So NK for N as in Nkechi, NK_Amadi, AMADI. So definitely, I would definitely be happy to connect with you.
Thank you, guys. And don't forget to screenshot a copy of what you put on iTunes so we can let you know who won the book. And I'll announce the winner by Monday or Sunday. Just let me know. All right, guys. Stay safe and please, there's so many things to be thankful for during this COVID period. Spend time with your loved ones, journal, dance, eat good meals, don't hurt tissue paper. Find things you can do to build on. I started learning my bike. I fell down once on my butt, but guess what? I'm back on it again because I never learned how to ride a bike. But find something you can do and stay safe, guys. I love all of you. Thank you, Jay.
I love you too. Thank
Enjoy
you.
your radio show, and thank you so much. And thanks, Dr. Ozzy, for the introduction.
Thanks, Dr. Ozzy. Shout out to you.
Yes, go listen to her podcast as well. Tales of an African Princess in America.
Amazing.
All right, bye. For real now, bye.
Bye.
All right, that was it.